On today's video, I have a special guest here with me, Rachelle Jarvis, and we're gonna talk about the benefits of a transaction coordinator and how that can really help you take your wholesale or your flipping business or your real estate business to a whole new level. All of that and more coming up.
For a limited time, you can get a free copy of Jerry Norton's Data Cruncher software, which finds cheap houses in your area. Get it now at mydatacruncher.com.
If you're new here, my name's Jerry Norton. I make millions of dollars a year flipping houses, and here on my YouTube channel, I show you how to do the same. So if you want to be a flipping genius like me and live your dream life, subscribe to my channel and watch my videos. So Rachelle, it is so great to be here with you.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I know you came in last minute, but I was super excited that you were going to be here at this event. So
yeah,
awesome.
Rachelle and I work together quite a bit, but we actually get to see each other in person and hang out a little bit. We're at an event today, and so thank you for taking the time to do this video.
Absolutely.
So I didn't really understand in my wholesaling business for many years just the benefit and the value of a transaction coordinator. Guys, if you don't know what a transaction coordinator is, it's someone that can take your deal and see it to the finish line. And so it's very powerful. A lot of people have internal staff and a team of people that try to handle this part of the business. And you and your company handle this for investors like me and you guys watching. So Rachelle, help us understand, someone watching right now, let's say that they're working on their first wholesale deal or they're getting their business off the ground. Maybe they're doing some creative financing. How can a transaction coordinator, what is it that they do and how is that so beneficial to their business?
Right, that's a great question. I get that question all the time. So one of the most important elements that I feel like with developing this business is I'm an investor myself. So as an investor, you know the things that you're good at, you're not good at, or what you need in the business. We all know, we all talk about it, you gotta focus on what you're good at. So if you're good at closing deals with your seller, a good business person knows how to outsource other things, right? People that are better at doing things in your business if you wanna be in for the long game. So in regards to a transaction coordinator, I feel like they're the backbone of the business. And the reason why, and we could talk about scenarios, I feel like they're the backbone of the business is because there's so many different elements within the transaction. And we're doing one right now where the seller just passed away and now we're having to go through probate and do all these different things. But that's my job. So when Jerry hands a deal off to me, I'm thinking, what's the things that I need to do? Opening up escrow, depositing the earnest money, make sure that Jerry has marketable title, make sure if there's any elements in the transaction that he is fully aware of that so that we know it's a deal.
And anybody who's done a transaction, you know that is a lot of work and a lot of follow-up. So to have you and your team kind of manage that process allows you to then get out of the way of seeing that thing to closing and go focus on what you're good at, which is probably finding new deals.
Absolutely.
I mean, I remember the one we did it was a Michigan deal you helped me with.
Yeah.
And I literally negotiated on the phone with the seller. We came to an agreement on terms and I literally said, Rachelle, here's the seller. Here's the verbal agreement we have. And then I was out and you called that seller. You dealt with getting that contract. You did the paperwork. I didn't even have to do that part. And then you helped me, we actually took that one down creative, sub 2. So you did all of that. Remember we had a couple tricky things going on with trying to get her mortgage. You handled all of that. Then what we did is we retailed it. So then we put it back up for sale, got a new buyer, sold it, had to pay off that everybody. So there was a lot of moving parts and I didn't do any of that. It was amazing. And it was well worth, having you on my team and paying you to handle that part of the business. So
absolutely, the value's there for sure, And like you said, so many different elements to the transaction, and that's our job is to make sure that they're deals that we can help close those deals. So one thing that I'd like to mention, I just told you about with wholesalers, I'm super excited to tell people that they can work with us for free.
Yes, this is cool. I love this.
That's a game changer for some people because the wholesaling industry, we know, attracts a big crowd. And as an investor, although I love having affiliates and working with different people, I love to be able to serve people nationally. And that's why I made the business that I did. So if I have somebody that's brand new and they understand value, they will pay for our service and then we'll throw our fee with an invoice on the HUD. So what does that mean? That means that your end buyer, because with the wholesale you're going to assign it, is going to reimburse you on the back end. And what a game changer that is for people.
So is the ticket to that they put in their original contract buyer to pay closing fees?
Yes.
And then that now includes it as a closing fee?
Absolutely. So we're part of the closing cost.
That's right.
And then it gets...
Because you invoice title.
Yep.
And now it's part of the closing fees on the closing statement. So guys, there's a key to this. You don't always do this. It's a very common technique, but as a wholesaler, one of the benefits you offer the seller is that you'll pay all the closing fees. Now the seller doesn't have to pay, all those fees. And then you pass that on to your cash buyer at the moment you assign your contract.
Yeah.
So your fee to handle the whole transaction is one of those closing fees that can be passed on to the cash buyer. Yeah. Cash buyer's happy to pay it as part of the closing fees. No big deal.
You found him a property and he's happy to purchase it, and we're just a line item. We navigate the process, and we want to also help you scale your business. I want, when we're handling deals for you, to be like, I want to handle more deals with Jerry because he's got Rachelle in his corner. And that's what we want to do to earn people's business in the future, is to help scale it. Because like you said, it's all about partnerships. Everybody in the transaction, not just the seller, but the end buyer, the title company, your private money lenders. So we want to help facilitate all of that.
One of the other things that I love, Rachelle, that you do, because you come from both sides of the table, right? Closing, and you understand the finance, you understand all of the creative, you understand the sellers, what their concerns and worries might be, what cash buyers' concerns, what the wholesalers. And so one of the things that's really amazing is, if you have a breakdown in communication between, let's say, your seller and your cash buyer, and title's not doing a very good job of communicating those two parties, you can have your deal blow up in your face.
100%.
And so that's one of the things I love that you do, is you bridge that gap between seller and cash buyer, and make sure that titles knows what they're doing, make sure that they're managing between seller and cash buyer effectively, so that all these parties can come together at that closing and have a smooth transaction without all these issues.
Right. And you don't got time to take all those calls.
Yeah.
I know you are very involved in your business, and you will, but you don't have time to do that, and that's where we come in and facilitate that, and be able to just give you your updates, give you a text or whatever you need to know that we're taking care of it and we're pushing it forward.
Yeah, like you mentioned a minute ago, we're in this deal right now, and literally the day before closing, the seller passes away. And now the deal's got to go through probate. It's like, couldn't he have passed away? I shouldn't say this.
I know, that's what I texted you.
2 days later, not one day before closing. Like, oh my gosh, it's the
But this is the nature of the business, though.
Yeah, it is.
This is the nature of the business, and that's what you got to be prepared for. Is you got to be able to just take action, and to be able to be flexible, and to pivot. Exactly. And the deal's locked up. We have an end buyer. Everybody's ready to close, but
we'll
now
just
we
wait
have
now.
to.
Yeah, we'll just wait now.
It'll still happen. But
what's cool though is I'm going to forget about the deal, and you're not.
Yeah.
And so then you'll keep in touch, and as this thing progresses through probate, who knows how long it'll take.
Yeah.
But it'll resurface, and we'll get it done eventually.
Yep, absolutely.
But I love that that's that part of the business that I don't have to now worry about. I can go focus on acquisitions and lead gen, or my flipping projects or whatever, and just know that that whole side is handled. One of the things, Rachelle, and I'm sure you ran into this, is I spend so much time with my students on like contract stuff, and okay, here's how you fill out a contract. Make sure you get this. Make sure you get that. And then okay, well, now you got to open escrow, and you got to do all these things. And I feel like a lot of people, especially until you've done it a few times, that whole process can be very intimidating. The paperwork, the closing, and people make, I think, a bigger deal out of it than it really is. But you know how it is when you're new at it, it's very intimidating.
Right.
And so having you do that, it allows somebody to just completely remove that whole worry.
Right.
Because you literally will take a verbal negotiation, take it from that spot, get the contract, the DocuSign, all of it done with the seller, and pick it up at that point, and then all the other things to get it to the end.
Absolutely. And
that's cool.
And whether you're in wholesale or creative, with my 15 years in experience, I train my TCs to be able to get on the phone, to know the contracts, to be well-versed in different contracts, because the fact that it says purchase and sell, for some reason, it freaks people out, and they're like, this is an assignment. It is definitely overthought, but they can get on there and explain the purchase contract, handle the objections, and being able to see somebody do that in action is valuable information. It's like an in-person training, a one-on-one. And like I said before, that's kind of my mission, is I want to help everybody nationwide, and for them to be able to see in practice, how is it done?
Definitely. I think especially when it comes to creative, people need to be learning about how to structure creative, but not how to close creative.
Right.
So people say to me, Jerry, you put that really creative deal together. How did you handle all the paperwork? And I'm like, I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't. Like, why would I do that?
Yes.
That's not where I want to be. I
No.
want my genius to be on the creative, putting the deal
Right,
together.
where you're good at.
Be the rainmaker, not
Absolutely.
the paperwork and all the ins and outs of
Yep,
closing.
Absolutely. And that's something we just have to continue to preach and preach and preach. And I think sometimes it's our entrepreneur type of personality, right? I had a hard time initially handing over my business to different people or having someone run your transactions or someone else's, but it's part of the business where you have to grow, get uncomfortable, and know that it needs to happen.
Definitely.
And like I said, being in for the long game, hiring people that are good at what you don't need to be doing.
Yes.
You're good at what you know you're good at, and let everybody else handle the rest.
So listen, guys, if you're into this, you're an aspiring wholesaler, you're doing wholesale transactions, I really want you to consider a transaction coordinator on your team. Rachelle and her team can handle that for you. So what you need to do is just go to constantclose.com and then do /flipping mastery. And I'll put that link on the screen here as well. But go ahead, you can do on that page, you can watch a video there, but you can do a consult call.
Yep.
And when you're ready for a transaction, is that the right time? Or maybe you want to get ready for your transaction?
Yeah. You just have a seller that at least has agreed to terms and interested, right? We can help close, or we can take over the paperwork wherever
Yep.
you're at. Yeah.
So go to that links, click on that, get signed up, or get that consult, and you guys will get on the phone with them. You'll walk them through, you'll find out what your deal is and help them get that to closing and just make your life a lot better. One final thought I forgot to mention was the other great benefit that Rachelle and her team will do is they will find the right title company wherever the deal is.
Yep.
So one of the things I'm always teaching people is, hey, here's how you go find a wholesaler friendly title company. And now with you, I don't even have to do that. You have those relationships already, or you will vet the title in that market because your title company is going to be local to the deal.
Absolutely.
So for you, it doesn't matter where it's at. You'll make
Right.
sure that you get really good wholesaler friendly title that's
Yep.
going to close the transaction.
That way it doesn't blow up at the end of the deal, and it does happen. So,
Yes.
yep.
So that's a key thing too.
Yep,
So all right,
absolutely.
awesome. Well, Rachelle, I'm super excited to be working with you. Thank you for
Same
helping
here.
everybody that
Absolutely.
follows me and subscribes and watches my videos. So guys, make sure you do that. We'll see you on the next video.